Hello everyone and happy Friday. I thought I would just do a quick little tag video for you guys today. So I'm going to be doing the Autumn Time Cozy book tag. Now this tag was originally created by Sam over at Sam's Nonsense, and because Sam is American, the original title of this tag was Fall Time Cozy book tag. So because we don't call autumn fall here in the UK, I thought I would just slightly change the title to make it more relevant to me, but it is exactly the same tag, exactly the same questions as Sam's tag. So I have my lovely cozy fluffy winter jumper on and I am ready to dive right into these questions. So the first question is Crunchy Leaves, a book with autumnal colours on the cover. And I think my most autumnal looking book is definitely Illuminate by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I just love the reds and the yellows and the oranges all over this book. This is also a pretty dark and cold book, so maybe it's more relevant to this time of year than just the appearance, but it certainly looks the part. The next question is Cozy Jumper, a book that gives you warm fuzzies. And for this, I have to say Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, just because of the warm, sticky, gooey nostalgia that it fills me with. I do read this book whenever I need a little bit of a comfort break, just because it takes me back to a better time and a better place, and it just reminds me of the first time that I discovered Harry Potter. Even though it's not my favourite book in the series, it still does that in a way that the other books don't. I love all of the books individually for their own reasons, but this one is definitely a warm, fuzzy book that I just love reading in colder months. The next question is Autumn Storms, your favourite book or genre that you like to read on a cold, rainy day. And I love reading classics like Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. This is my favourite classic, but I do love any kind of dark, cold, wintry, gothic-y type classics. I love reading on cold, rainy days. I also love reading epic fantasies. I don't know why, but there's just something I love about being warm inside with a hot cup of tea and a massive epic fantasy. I love that idea, but certainly classics and big fantasies are definitely my genres of choice in cold, rainy days. The next question is Cool Crisp Air, a cool character that you would like to trade places with. And this is quite a hard question for me because I realised in the books that I like to read, the characters are normally in some kind of mortal danger. So obviously I wouldn't want to trade places with many of them. But if I had to pick, I would probably say Feyre in A Court of Mist and Fury, and A Court of Mist and Fury in particular. I don't think I would want to be Feyre in the first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses, but I think I would like to be her in this book, solely because of Rhysand. I'm going to be honest, I love Rhysand. I would love to spend as much time with him as Feyre gets to in this book. So yeah, if I had to choose a character to trade places with, it would be A Court of Mist and Fury, Feyre. I guess I would probably like to be Hermione as well, just because obviously I would be able to go to Hogwarts, I would have magic, but I feel like I would also be smart enough to get myself out of any danger. So Hermione or Feyre, I think, would have to be the characters that I would like to trade places with. The next question is Hot Apple Cider, an underrated book that you want to become the next big thing. And this book isn't really terribly underrated, but I do feel like it doesn't get as much hype as it deserves. And that is The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. This is the first book in a YA fantasy trilogy. The second one is The Invasion of the Tearling, and the third one, The Fate of the Tearling, is coming out at the end of this month. And I am so excited to finish off this trilogy. I absolutely love it. Anyone who hasn't read it really should. If you like your fantasy, if you like your kick-ass women, please read this little series. It's just gorgeous, and it's actually perfect for autumn, I think, because obviously it's a fantasy and it will make you smile. It's not the kind of fantasy where you are constantly scared that someone's going to die. It's the kind of fantasy that's going to make you laugh and make you smile. I love it, and I think everybody should definitely read it. The next question is Coats, Scarves and Mittens, a book cover that you want to cover up. Now, I didn't have many choices because I'm not really embarrassed by any of the books I read. If I love a book, I'm not embarrassed to talk about it. But when I was reading this book recently, I did kind of feel a little bit weird about reading it in public, and that is The Merciless by Daniel Vega, just basically because of this cover. I kind of felt like if people saw me reading this in public, they might think that I was a Satanist, let's be honest, because obviously it doesn't look like a fiction book, but yeah, I was kind of a little bit awkward and a little bit wary about reading this in public recently, but hey, I did, and I maybe did make some sort of effort to cover the cover at some times, but I wasn't embarrassed by reading it. I was just maybe a little bit scared of what people might think if they saw me reading it. But it was an amazing book. So yeah, I wouldn't say I want to cover it up because I personally think it's a beautiful, beautiful cover. But yeah, for other reasons, maybe I did kind of want to cover it up at some points. And the last question is not book related, it's pumpkin spice, and the question is, what is my favourite autumnal wintry comfort food? Now, in winter months, in colder months, food wise, I love obviously warming things, so I love soups, I love homemade stews, obviously hot chocolate, hot tea, sweet things, so nice kind of warm, fluffy, moist cakes and cookies and things like that. There's no one food that I could probably pick, but I certainly do eat more soups during colder months, obviously just because they're warming, and obviously nice kind of like crunchy, soft, rustic bread, that kind of thing. I love that sort of thing. So yeah, I would guess that is probably my autumn comfort food. And that is it for this autumn cozy book tag. Do you think you might want to do it? I tag you if you haven't done it and you want to. I will leave all my social media in the description down below as normal. I hope you have an amazing Friday, an amazing weekend, and I will see you very soon for another video. Bye bye.